Alright, so let's talk a little bit about why I went into stand-up comedy. The reason I went into stand-up is because at the end of the day, people that have a disability need an outlet. People need to be able to talk about stuff that, you know, it's kind of looked down upon to talk about. When you look at somebody in a wheelchair, I don't think you're thinking, man, I wonder how they got there. Right, most of the time when I do live streams and when I do, all these things, the first thing people think is, well, he doesn't have a brain, he can't do anything for himself. I went to college, I went to high school, I did all those things, and I did fairly well, but at the end of the day, I just didn't care about those things. I'll be honest with you, I was the guy that got in trouble in grade school because my principal broke his leg and he wanted to race me, and I was losing the race, so I ran him into the wall. I was the guy that got in trouble because I was in grade school and I didn't want to be in class, so I decided to take my aide on a 2-hour tour of the school. That was the kind of student I was. When I was in high school, most of the time I got in trouble because I was talking too much or because I was socializing too much. It wasn't because I wasn't good at what I was doing. Everything that I do, normally I have been able to exceed expectations. Exhibit A would be stand-up comedy. When I started stand-up comedy, I didn't expect to be really good. I went to the one comedy class, and by the end of my 5-minute set, I was being told that I was going to be a star in this industry. I'm living proof that you don't judge a book by its cover. I'm living proof that when you turn those pages of that book, you're going to find many different things. I've had people come up to me and they're like, have you been like this your whole life? And I'm like, yeah, I came out of my mom in a wheelchair, because I don't like ignorance. At the end of the day, I hate ignorance. I don't like people that are ignorant. I don't like people that, look at me and they assume that I can't do things. When I tell people I'm a soccer coach, right, that gets probably the biggest laugh out of any of the jokes I tell. And it's not even a joke, but it's the absolute truth, I'm the only person in the United States with cerebral palsy that has a license to coach soccer. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, well, how do you do that? You can't kick a ball, you can't run on the field. And I'm like, dude, I have a brain. And that's part of the reason I went into stand-up, is because I wanted to be able to talk about issues without being too serious about it. Because a lot of times when you're too serious about something, you can't educate people, right? Because they get scared. I want to educate people. I want people to look at me and be like, this guy's actually funny. This guy knows what he's doing. I always said when I started soccer that I was never going to find anything that was even comparable to soccer. But the truth is, I did in stand-up comedy. Meeting guys like Jim Perry and Paul Green, it really changed my life, because at the end of the day, those are two guys that are really good at what they do. And so when I watched them and I listened to how they delivered their jokes, it was amazing, because that's what I do in normal conversation. I'm one of those people that will make fun of myself for being disabled. Not because I want to do it intentionally, but because it's easier than admitting that there's a problem. And that's the way it is. It's much easier to make fun of yourself and be like, yeah, I'm the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah, I'm the guy with the free parking. It's easier to make fun of yourself than it is to say, you know what, I'm different. And, I want people to look at me and look at themselves. And if they are different, I want them to be okay with that. Because at the end of the day, look, it's not a big deal if we're different, And in my next video, I'm going to talk a lot about CP and how it affects my daily life. And, a lot of my jokes come from that because that's what I deal with every day. And one of the things that I've really struggled with over the last, I'd say probably month, is the fact that, most of my jokes, have to do with me being in a wheelchair. And I get it, you don't want to be a one-trick pony, and I understand that. But look, at the end of the day, you gotta stick to your strengths. And most of my stories come from the fact that I'm disabled. Most of my stories come from the fact that I'm a soccer coach. I try not to be a one-trick pony, but the one thing I realized is if I sit there and try to think of a joke rather than just talking about things that have happened in my life, then that's where I struggle, because at the end of the day, I don't want to have to think about it. I just want to sit here and tell stories about my life and talk about how, I've gotten through things in my life. And I think, I haven't posted a lot on this channel, and I've kind of slacked on that because I didn't know how I felt about the whole social media thing and how if I wanted this channel to go anywhere. But since I started stand-up comedy, it's made me want to reach out to people a lot more. Now, obviously, if you're expecting me to actually stand up, no, that's not going to happen. Sorry to disappoint you, I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but if you figure out how I can do that, leave a comment down below and maybe we can make history together, I'm joking, obviously, but stand-up comedy has really become a big part of my life because at the end of the day, I'm able to talk to you guys about things that I go through, and I'm able to do it in a way that I hope isn't too scary, because when you're able to do that, when you're able to talk about things without it being petrifying, I think that's when you are able to change the ideas of people and change perception of people without actually changing who they are as individuals. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, why I got into stand-up comedy and why I decided to start making my channel more of a funny channel, because I think it's going to educate a lot of people as well as make them laugh. So that's it for this video, guys. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you again. Bye.